Yeah, so welcome guys. This is the first ever Subversion podcast. We're in the MMA bunker. Boys, what do you think?
Yeah, nice little setup, eh?
Yeah, not bad.
Only a few days' notice, so
Yeah, well,
it's good.
Look what I can do like that. Yeah, like I said, Subversion podcast. We don't normally do these kind of long form things. We're normally doing our reels and our posts and our prefix highlights videos. We're known for that. But we thought, well, why not try one of these long form things, a bit more of a in conversation, see how they go, see if you guys enjoy it. We were supposed to do it for Origin and Equinox, but George and I just never made time.
Yeah.
I think I don't know who came up with the idea of asking Marc, but George.
Yeah, I remember saying get Marc on first.
Then George just messaged last week and said, let's do that podcast, get Marc involved, and yeah, here we are. So
here we are. Let's do it.
Before we get in, I thought for people who don't know us, we'll introduce ourselves. George is the founder of Subversion. George.
Yeah. Founded in, what was it, 2017, 18?
Yeah.
Somewhere around then. Before that, just running local tournaments. Started off with OSOB only. Did a bit of the Federation Comp, Sydney Cup, and then ADCC. And then eventually got on, did the trials last year, ran the trials with John Donoghue. And we've just been making a big push for this Subversion, eh? It's gone wild.
Yeah, it's done well. I'm Matt. I do all the posts, all the pictures and videos and production for the events. Everything you see on Insta is me. And then we've got Marc here as well. Marc came on board. He's got two roles, I would say.
He's got more roles.
Yeah. Probably head of securities, the primary.
I was going to say, contracted enforcer. Social media and antagonist.
Yeah.
Supporter, motivator.
I should be writing these down. We'll put a little LinkedIn profile for you and you can add that.
Undefeated MMA? Undefeated?
As a pro?
Yeah.
Yeah. Took a loss as a Ukrainian, beat the life out of me as an amateur.
Yeah, right.
And only had 2 pro fights. Ricky Alchin was pretty, hit me pretty hard a few times, and that'll do me. I'll finish it up there.
Yeah, right. Well, like I said, Marc is officially our head of judging. Started off as one of our refs. You were there for the first Subversion at the Roundhouse?
Yeah. I think I met you guys through the OzSub only initially.
Is that what it was?
Like, that's where it all started, kicked off. George gave me my first crack on a super fight. Richie Pappas actually heel hooked me in about 45 seconds.
Where was that?
OzSub only the day.
Yeah. And when we used to do like the 8-man bracket.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I remember that.
When Ethan and Bob had that 80 or 90 minute match.
40. Was it? No, they did. Yeah, about 45 minutes, wasn't it?
No, it was 80.
It was a long time.
Keller and Harry was 45.
47.
Yeah.
And then Ethan, Bob were
90.
Yeah, it was something ridiculous.
Okay.
Yeah, it was mental.
Yeah.
That was when you used to love the no time limit matches, which you also did at the second Subversion. Do you remember that? And it was SWMA versus Gracie Humaita.
Oh, yeah, that was
Kevin Ryman.
We just kept going overtime for that, didn't we?
It was a quintet, and it was the final. They were the last two, and it was Kevin Ryman and Joel Costello.
Yeah.
It just kept going and going, and it was at Gracie Humaita. Were you there for that?
No.
At Gracie Humaita, and it was this packed gym, and then Kev got, after, what was it?
It was a long time, yeah.
10 overtimes or something, ended up getting rear naked, and everyone that was there to support Gracie Humaita just left, so the last fight was just, there was no one there.
And Kevin Ryman pretty much just retired on the spot down there. That was his moment of glory. It was like, yes.
He probably should have.
Yeah.
Who's worse, giving you shit on Insta, him or Ryman?
Oh, definitely Ryman.
Oh, right.
He's always fucking he goes dark. He's just like fuck off, mate. Like
Marc's is light-hearted.
Yeah. It was banter, and he's just just comes out with some heavy stuff. I'm like, Jesus, mate. All right, relax.
Low then, mate.
Yeah.
Well, I remember I've got a little note here from that event. Do you remember that you forgot your power supply for your laptop? So halfway through the night, we were timing off an iPhone. Like the things you learn doing these shows, we were timing off an iPhone and just calling out how long was left. And
yeah.
But
no, actually, when I first met you was through Alex Barr.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Shout out to Alex at Arm Barbarian from Maitland. He's a good mate of mine. So yeah, we met through him at the one of the Federation comps where they they still had puzzle mats, and you still had hair.
That is a long time ago.
And you were GB because Alex was GB as well, and you were decked out in Hyperfly. GB decked out in Hyperfly, so
that actually caused friction with GB.
You were already subverting back then, see? So
yeah, that's not allowed. You can't be doing that sort of stuff.
And I think we remember we hung around and watched your no-gi matches, and you won that. You won the no-gi.
I think back those Oz Sub only was real good because you'd have that was back when Tito was still a boy. Like he's coming through high school and smashing all these adults. But Whitaker would sign up, and just because of that, you'd have 40 entries in the absolute. Hayden was still a young fella back then as well, and all the Sydney West guys would pile into that, and it was always a really good day at that Oz Sub only.
Yeah, the absolute brackets was because we had the belt, had cash prize. People were just jumping in. It was great, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was good fun.
It sort of just made that when I got the idea to do Subversion, it carried over really well. Just like everyone that was already competing all the time, just jumped pretty much jumped on the show.
Yeah, that no-gi scene was already there.
Yeah,
that's how I met Luke too. I had a match with Sammy back in. It was terrible. Nothing happened for the duration, but I was stuck in insides and Kaku and didn't know how to finish a heel hook. And Luke just, cheekily sort of said, if you want to learn how to finish that, you can drop in at Sydney West. And that's sort of how that relationship started. And I did start dropping in, and I got heel hooked a lot more. But yeah, that's sort of how it's all.
I think I remember rolling with you once at Blacktown Alpha. Yeah, that's when I remember first meeting you.
When I went in that MMA direction, I would just drop in there on a Friday just to, try and keep the gi skills, but they're long gone now. But it was more of a social thing. There's a couple of good blokes there, and I didn't mind.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't mind going there. Some big boys there now. I was looking at I googled you to get your MMA record when George said let's do the podcast, and something came up. Brown belt forever. I think something along those lines.
Oh, Luke said
forever brown belt, or what's the?
Luke said I'm on track to grade in 2030, so
that's not too. What's that?
Not too far away.
It's 6 years now. Amateur record of 7-1, pro record 2-0, both sub wins. Fought in one FC Warrior Series. We've gone through a bit of your background. Is it gyrocopter or moose?
Oh, Ethan Thomas started calling me Moose.
So is that so is that the more recent one? Is it Moose?
Yeah, it used to be gyrocopter just because everyone tries to be real intimidating, and most people at MMA events are walking around thinking they're hardcore.
Yeah.
I was literally there to try and not hit them at all and just sub them, and people hated that. But most MMA guys don't want to learn jiu-jitsu; it's too hard, and most of them aren't very smart. They just stick to striking and simple stuff like that. So I was always just trying to grapple like a Demian Maia style, but then. Moose coming about, I'd be sparring with Ethan Thomas and going too hard in sparring and kicking too hard. And then he started calling me Moose for a moose kick.
Yeah, okay, yeah, right. Well, we're talking nicknames here, George. I didn't really bring that up properly, but that's nicknames.
But going back to when I said meet you with Alex, Alex said because you were a year younger than Alex at school?
Yeah, a year below Alex at school.
And he said you would always be punching on, getting into fights. Is that true?
Yeah,
because Maitland, it's not. It's a bit of a tough area, a bit of a rough area.
I was one of those kids. I don't think I had underarm hair till year 9. I really was a late bloomer. I didn't hit puberty till I was 17, so I got bullied. Alex Barr was probably bullying me as well. But then my old man got me into boxing, and then I started boxing in I think it was year 7 or year 8, and then I've got a little bit of skill. And then I was, once I could at least push back, then I was getting in heaps of fights. But thankfully, I eventually went into jiu-jitsu and MMA and did it.
Was you working the door as well at some stage?
Yeah.
I bet you were getting into a lot of blues on the door in Maitland.
I think initially, when I first started doing that security work when I was 19, 20, society was different then, and people would happily punch a security guard. But with all those one-punch laws, and as society improved gradually, and as jiu-jitsu grew in Australia as well, don't forget, when we all started, it was on jigsaw mats, in a community hall somewhere, and no one really knew anything. It was more just turn up and roll around and have a bit of fun.
What year did you start?
2009. Initially did it, just to assist with footy.
That was at Gracie Baha?
No, it was Will Machado back then. That black belt was doing the best he could with what he knew, but I didn't really get exposure to good high quality jiu-jitsu until like much later on, like probably like 2018.
Do you think that was also where you were? Like, do you think it would have, if you were in Sydney, it would have been...
Would be interesting. I remember Lovato coming out in like 2014 or 2015, did a seminar, and I think it was... No, was it Liverpool at KMA?
Oh, okay.
But I was already a fan of him back then. Like, he was the man back in the day. It was a 3-hour seminar, cost me $180. Like, so much value. He literally covered everything, and I pretty much used only those techniques then for the next 2 or 3 years. I eventually, when I moved to Sydney, then I started training with Ebersol and went down the MMA path. Like, he passed on heaps in terms of the MMA aspect. But then I sort of doubled back to jiu-jitsu and was at Grappling Ed initially, and that was really good during COVID, close to Taylor's house. But then I dropped in at Sydney West post-COVID, and I'd watched all the Danaher instructionals, and I thought I was good. I'm like,
those boys.
I'm going to smash Luke. Like, I'm going to go in there and just run a train on everyone, and everyone just run a train on me. And I thought, like, you could just watch instructionals and get good from that. So I was like, oh, you beauty. Like, this COVID period's been a blessing. Maybe other people were training covertly, I'm not sure. We can't really confirm or deny these sort of things. But I can tell you, when I come in and that training room post-COVID, I was coming in pretty confident and I got wrecked. And that was when I eventually switched over and started making the drive.
That whole, obviously, I wasn't doing any rolling during COVID. And then I think we were just getting out. No, I think it was still like you couldn't leave the area or something. And Luke was like, yeah, you come down and have it roll. And I was like, oh, I haven't trained or anything. Just remember, I was just working out in the park all the time. That's all I was doing.
Yeah, I've seen plenty of gun shows from George.
And he's like, come down. So I went down, and that's when I first ran into Suppo. And there's me, haven't rolled for months. And I think these boys were, they were training secretly. And then Luke's just gone, yeah, just have a round with Suppo. And I was like, Jesus. And that's, fucked me up that first time. I was like,
he used to love that, didn't he? He used to do the same to me. You'd turn up for a random class and you go, Suppo. And like, it was like, I don't know what it was. It was like you just had to have a go with Suppo for him to acknowledge you. I don't know what it was. They were tough rounds.
Yeah.
I think Curtis beat me up pretty bad. Like the first time I come back post-COVID, Curtis was... I remember dropping in the first time. I think he was a white belt, and he armbarred me.
He was a white belt?
He was a white belt when I was a brown belt. And we're both brown belts now. But I was like, man, I said to Luke, like, that guy's really good. Like, he was really green back then. Yeah. Then as he's a blue belt, he was already giving me, like, a really hard time. I think he tapped me 3 times that first session back from COVID. Luke ran a train. Ethan couldn't wait to get a hold of me. You got Curtis. Like, they're all just lining up to have a go, like visiting brown belt. How good's this? And it was pretty hard to drive home after that. Right. I was like, that sucked.
I'm lucky. I think some of them were feeling sorry for me, so they were just encouraging me, tapping me every time, and then just like, oh yeah, not bad. They were just doing like 20%. I went Ethan. Who else did I go?
But Kevin was there. He didn't bash me. That was good.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Can't let him bash me.
No,
fuck
no. You'd never live it down. Can you imagine that?
I sort of miss Kevin. Like, he's always a good rest round when you're in at Sydney West.
Poor bastard. I know, George, I didn't even send you this thing, but you were bringing up fights. When I was looking up your record, I came across an article from 2016. I don't know how to put it, but you assisted in the arrest of 2 assailants. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Can you tell us that story?
Oh, long story short, someone tried to mug a woman as she was opening up the female-only gym. So she's turned up about 5:30 at the front of my place in Maitland. And I was just sound asleep, middle of winter. And people think this is gross, but back then, I used to always sleep in my skins. And it's not like post-training. It's a fresh set of skins.
Oh, okay.
Well, the article said he was still in his training gear from the night before.
I thought that's
just
where
always ready.
I wanted to know the story. I wasn't implying that you're dirty. And
I knew you were going there. But just to confirm, they were freshly washed skins that I was in. But I've come out, because it was, when I heard the scream, it was, sounded like a horror movie. Something bad was obviously happening. I come across 2 fellas, and all they're both tiny. But one of them had a screwdriver, and he sort of, swore at me and sort of said, "Fuck off, or I'll kill you." And I sort of processed what was happening. I was like, I can definitely deal with both of you. And when I didn't, when I started coming 40 and they both run, we ended up running I ended up straining, I think I strained my back trying to chase him, because it was middle of winter and I was cold coming
out of bed.
Out of bed, probably still, blood where it shouldn't be that time of morning. But I took off and they ended up splitting, and I grabbed a hold of one of them, but I literally tore his pocket off his cargo pants, and he got away.
Keep it for evidence, yeah.
But then, I should have. But then old mate because we would have run about 500 metres, and I was cooked too, but so was he, and that was the one with the screwdriver.
Yeah.
But I just took him down, took his back, sort of trapped the arm and got rid of the screwdriver, and then I was just strangling him on and off until the cops turned up. A council worker pulled up, and he's like standing there like
not knowing what to do.
And I'm like,
if you were assaulting him or something.
Yeah, I'm like, mate, he's like, do you need a hand? I'm like, yeah, call the cops. Like, he's standing there just like in shock.
Was the girl alright?
Nah, she I think they stabbed her with the screwdriver twice in the leg and knocked a couple of her teeth out.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was pretty bad, and she like stumbled to the police station, which was pretty close. Yeah. But they're like doing first aid in the foyer on her, and then naturally every cop that was there just
fanned out.
It didn't take very long, but the guy was like, I'm on his back strangling him and not putting him out, but all but on and off.
Yeah.
And then he's like, if you let me go now, I won't hurt you. That's what he said to me. I'm like, bro,
do you know where you are right now?
I can literally do whatever I want right now. And then cops come in. I just nearly put him unconscious and then threw him to the side and walked back to check, what was going on. But then all my mates at the time made all these stupid memes and really, and then there's like media turning up and trying to do all these interviews, and the worst thing was everyone thought I was dirty because I'd slept in training gear for the night before.
Why didn't you tell them? You didn't give him the detail you just gave us?
No one cares. It's just media. They're all grubs. They just put whatever they want. What's going to read well?
That'll make a good story for them.
Should we get into how?
Hey! I've still got some more questions for you. That's all the hard hitting stuff.
Man, I'm starting to sweat over here.
I know. We did have one, and it was. Do you remember? I don't know if anyone,
how he antagonised us with.
Yeah, but secretly.
Yeah.
For a while. So George, there was Subsidy 2, I think, right? So George,
somewhere around there, wasn't it? Yeah.
Every event we do, everyone knows George posts the matchup posters for upcoming fights and what to expect. Records, win losses. What his thought process behind each match that he's made. And then about Subsidy 2, George, I can't remember if you must have found him first, and you rang me and you're like, there's this guy and he's posting the matchup posters after I'm posting them, and he's breaking them down himself. He's like, who the fuck is this guy? You had the shits. Do you remember?
No, I was just like confused. I just wanted to know who it was.
You were calling me, and as the longer it went on, I think the angrier you got. Who is this guy? I remember.
I think I was just so angry because they were actually good captions as well. They were broken down pretty good.
But he also knew. So his profile picture was some random on a dirt bike out in the bush. His name was Willie Orama, and it said he had some weird profile. Do you remember what the profile said?
Yeah, it was just an alter ego. It was just a picture of someone. I think they were wearing a snorkel. Oh, initially it was a guy going pigging out of Boulder.
That's what it was. I thought it was a dirt bike. Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Yes. So anyway, it turns out. But he knew everyone that George was matching up against. He knew who they versed at the last Subversion. Like, I thought he was this secretly Subversion biggest fan. George was like, "Who is this guy?" He was. You were shitty. You got to admit it.
It went on for a while, and then I was just like, I think because then we were direct messaging each other.
Well. One of you offered me a free ticket.
I was nice about it. I'm like, mate, you're doing our marketing for us. You're helping promote. Come watch it for free. You're like, nah. What'd you say? I'm out bush somewhere. You come up with some bullshit.
Yeah, it went on for a while.
And then George rings me up. Oh, this is he's fuming.
I don't think I was that. I was just wanting to know. I was like, who is it?
And then it went quiet. And then George rings me. He rings me. Yeah, I know who it is. I'm like, tell me. Nah, I can't tell you. And he kept it. I don't know how long he kept it a secret, but how'd you find out?
I think I just sussed it out, didn't I? Then I just said, "Is this Mark?"
The very first person to find out was Luke.
Okay.
He messaged me. He goes, "I know who this is," and he said he didn't say my name, but he said a few things. And I was like, "Yeah, you're on the money, but we're having a bit of fun here, so
how did he know?
Well, I think I was a pretty big creonch. Like, I've trained, I got every belt's come from a different instructor, which not many people have creonched to that level. But that allowed me to really get around and train with lots of, most of the good guys I've trained with at some point. and most of the people on that card I know pretty well, so it was really easy to give a fairly comprehensive breakdown on all those matches, and I tried to make sure it was positive.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean?
Was. Yeah,
there was
no.
It was trying to pump the event up, and it was early days, so it was like, we're going to go to the roundhouse soon, or yous were. Let's pump this up and really make it something.
But that's why I messaged you and said you're helping us out. Like, I loved what you were doing, and I was encouraging you. I said, come down. You're like, no, it's all good. And then
because it was on a private
Insta.
It was private, wasn't it?
Yeah.
What was the bio? It said something funny. I can't remember. Something.
I can't remember now, but I had something like Bogger Jiu-Jitsu Club or something like that.
Yes, because then I was Googling where the hell is Bogger and things like that. I'm like, and then you started dropping hints to me. Let's just say I've been to a Subversion before, and I'm like, what? And it was, I may have been the best referee you've ever had. And
that gave
Ryman?
Yeah, I should have been more clear there.
Yeah, but do you remember much of that first event?
I think it was
the first
at the roundhouse.
Yeah.
Oh, the roundhouse refereeing. I think I learned heaps from that experience itself. I think we all did. Like it went really well. It was epic. I think Tito and Duke in particular.
That was a good match. Yeah.
I was terrified because I was worried they're going to end up in row 2 or 3.
You were reffing that one, weren't you?
Yeah, that was really stressful because they're both trying to throw each other. Tito's, hasn't got a judo background, but geez, he's got some good skills on the feet when he wants to. And, Duke's obviously coming from that domain. But Tito's fearlessly non-stop just trying to put him into orbit. So it was just a fantastic matchup. Plus the crowd really got into that one. But it was a real fine line. Do you stop this? Are they getting close to the edge? I let it go a lot more than I probably should have, but nothing bad happened, and it was entertaining.
That throw was right on the edge, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was so close. Yeah,
I remember. Do you remember you had a wager on that one?
Yeah, I had
our mat supplier at the time.
Oh yeah, bloody fucking Rusty. He supplied us the mats, and I had a bet with him. He was like, "Duke's going to win." I was like, "I'll bet you what you're going to charge us." If we win, you don't charge us. We get it for free. I bet Tito's going to win. He was like, "Oh fuck yeah, no way, fucking Duke's going to win." And then was he was filthy at the end, wasn't he?
I can't remember.
So
cheers for the free mats, Rusty.
Yeah, so we got free mats.
So he stuck to it.
Yeah.
That's surprising from what I've heard about that fella.
Yeah.
But and how old was Tito then? 14, 15?
No, he wasn't that young, was he? That was 2019. He would have been 17. Because when he came, remember when we went to Melbourne, Sub only, he was 16. Oh, okay. That was 2017, 2018. He would have been 16, 17.
Ran into Tito up the coast there last weekend.
Was he doing out there working?
No, it was just with his brother.
Yeah,
Just a long weekend, just cruising around.
I always like the banter between, like, everyone would say, like, Tito's 17, and then everyone's talking about baby Dave. And then both of them probably 18 or 19 at the time, but people still say, oh, yeah, 17 or, it's 14 or something like that.
Tito's, for me, he's just going to be forever just 14, that 14-year-old Tito.
Yeah. But so is baby Dave. He's going to be 50 years old and people will still be calling him baby. But yeah, like, as I said, Marc, head judge for Subversion since Revolution, I think. So you refed at the first Subversion at the Roundhouse, and then you refed a couple of the live streams for us. You got, let me just have a look here, 22 matches you've refed for us.
Geez, you've done some good research here.
I write every match. I write the result. I write the referee. I write the finish time. Fourth most refereeing appearances in Subversion history, behind Warwick, Winston, and Kane. And I think it was Revolution. I don't know if it was before Revolution or after Revolution. You designed the judging criteria for how our matches are, decided if it does go to a decision. You want to go through that with us? We'll go. Let me just check here. So obviously we've got George will pair up guys obviously with similar belts. So we go IBJJF allowable techniques according to their belt. But George, you've got some guys that ask for
if it's like
custom rules.
Yeah, if it's like these days everyone's in the no-gi scene just wants to do full rules, leg locks. So, you get some blue belts, like we'll just go, let's do full rules. So I'll just go, okay, you can do brown, black, IBJJF techniques.
We had that last one was Jude Keane and Luke Sky from the qualifiers. They qualified through the qualifiers at blue belt and then went brown black
Yeah.
on the night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a few have done that. Reese and Nem, they did that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been a few matches where they do full rules. Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, Mark kind of wrote the criteria for what they look for on the night. So obviously on the night we have, like I said, Mark head judge, and we'll have our 2 referees, and we'll also have 2 other judges. So it's 5 people making a decision. George wanted to do that after one of the sub-cities. I remember we had 3 judges, and there might have been a controversial decision, and George just went, was it, I can't remember if it was George or you. One of you just suggested
at the roundhouse.
5.
At the roundhouse, there was a little bit of conjecture over some decisions. That individual, he had 3 of his students all have close decision matches. All 3 could have gone either way. One of them did go his way, 2 didn't. I think that's the sport. Get people to finish by submission, and you don't have that challenge. But to remove any controversy or any thought that there's bias, which there wasn't, but now we got 5. There's no possible, all from different, everyone's coming from different academies. Everyone's got their own different background. There's no bias. Everyone's just turning up. The criteria is clear. And we're judging off that. And ultimately, we don't want to use that criteria. We want to see a submission.
Exactly. But, and I remember after Revolution, we had you guys all seated on a long-ass table, all 5 judges, all together, all seeing the exact same thing. At the end of it, Mark sent us this ridiculously comprehensive email of everything that we could improve, which I love. Thanks for that, Mark. But I'm
a bit special. Sorry.
No, mate, I loved it because it gave us something to think about. We want to improve. And one of them was separating the judges, which is what they do in the UFC. They'll have 3 judges all sitting at different parts. If we're here and there's something happening on that, you're looking at the screen, you can't see what's going on. You get a completely different perspective to, they might see something you're not seeing there. So, like, that was obviously the thought process with that.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty comfortable with how I wasn't there for the last event. I was overseas travelling, but the previous events, I'm very happy. I think you guys are as well. We're getting a good result. Most of the time we're, unanimous in decision. Occasionally there are super close matches and there is a little bit of, a 3-2 potentially, but that's not the norm. Ideally, we want to see submissions, but we've had some pretty good judges too.
I think so too. I was gonna ask you that. Like you've watched I don't know how many matches now. You were impressed with Ricky Pichon, I think was surprising for, wasn't he?
Oh, look, I've trained with Ricky a fair bit. I don't know if I'm allowed to disclose that. But
you're allowed to. He's not.
Yeah. I've shared the mat with him. He's a bit of a larrikin. I wasn't sure what he was going to be like when you guys said you were putting him in. I wasn't averse to it, but I was like, I was curious how he would go. He was fantastic. Asked good questions early, like before we started, to get that clarification. And then he even, on one decision, he's like, could you give me a minute? Like he's really putting some thought into it. And I was looking at the notes he was making, like he was really good in that role, which surprised me because he's such a larrikin when you're training and has a laugh. And he is a bit of a loose unit, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I'm totally with you. And I'm the same. When I get all your booklets back, I have a look over. I've got to put names on them next time so I know, because last one, I can't remember who it was, but the notes they wrote were just so comprehensive. Like, every judge has a notepad, and during the match, for the guys at home, they write, a pass or a sweep or a sub attempt. Like, they note it all down. The one I got back, I cannot tell you who it was, but every page was full from every match. I was like, wow, this person was actually paying a hell of a lot of attention.
Okay. Yeah. So if we don't have Ricky competing, we'll make sure we get him on the judges.
I'll tell you who else was good. Allsop. The first time I met him was at the Roundhouse, and I didn't know who he was. I don't know how.
Yeah, because he trains at SWMA as
well. No, this was like before then.
As in the very first Roundhouse.
Yeah, so my first interaction with him was that night. And I was like, who's this dweeb? And thinks he knows about jiu-jitsu. But he had like a bit of diversity of thought, and it was actually really good having him there as well. And now that I've trained with him, he's one of 3 people that smothered me.
So did he judge at the first Subversion?
Yeah, the Roundhouse.
I couldn't tell you who judged the first one. Interesting.
It was Mark, Josh, and
John Mr. Ketis was there. Yeah. That was the first time I met him as well. He was a really good ref.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Well, that brings me into this. We've got 4 of the 5 judges, but you might have given us the 5th now. So we've got you, we've got Kane Wilkin refereeing, Winston refereeing,
Kane and Winston, like
Kane
they're really
and
good
Winston,
as well.
great
They're
referees.
pretty solid.
Matt Diaz, he's going to be,
Yeah.
so he's from Legacy.
Yep.
He's going to be a judge. And then, like I said, we're looking for the 5th. Maybe we ask Josh.
It's good, yeah, good to have these guys that are, you know, they're all over the IBJJF like criteria on the mat and stuff. So it's good to have them. And
It's also a good range. Like there's
Yeah.
GE, there's Garage.
Yeah, that's what we got to do. We got to
Legacy as well. I think that's where
Legacy.
Matt comes from. Yeah.
spread it, get an even, like you said, we don't get too much bias or whatever. So
Yeah.
get
I don't think there's bias anyway. I think that's more like sour grapes if you.
Yeah.
And if, like, we've been smart about that too, like in the case of when Alan Torres was judging and his missus was fighting, I think George stood in for him for the match. Or I think, there was another one like that where someone had a really close relationship with them. We just got them to replay. I think George has done it the last 2 events, just switched in for one event, for one match and switched back out. So there's no, none of that.
Well, yeah, we've it's been pretty lucky with like how it's all gone with the judging, I reckon.
Well,
been pretty good.
I'll go through the rest of the things here. We've got, without a judge's decision, this is the main one here that Mark's come up with. Decisions are based on legitimate/tight submission attempts. Who's pushing the pace, controlling the match? Whoever gets the most takedown sweeps, pins, passing, and positional control. Do you want to break that?
It's probably worth clarifying with legit tight sub attempts. We're not just spamming trash.
Yeah.
Like it needs to. Let's think of. I'm sure everyone remembers Jeremy and Taliesin. Like that's a really good example of a legitimate tight submission attempt. You could hear pops from the judging table. Like that's as close as it gets without a finish. That's a good example of a tight submission. That's what we're looking for. We're not just looking for someone just to be spamming, rubbish submission attempts that aren't even close. In terms of pushing the pace, like the last thing we want to see, it's a pro event. We don't want to see stalling. Like let's go out there and try and finish your opponent. I don't want to give any examples of stally matches. We talked about a few before we started, but that's something we'll try and address in future shows where if we need to call for action, we will. Because ultimately, we've got a spot on flow. We want to keep that long term and make sure it is viewer friendly.
And same thing, people in the crowd, they want to be cheering, they want to have fun, they want to be entertained. We don't want people sitting there twiddling their thumbs for 7 minutes or whatever it is.
Again, I think we've been pretty lucky. We've only had like a few duds, really. Not out of all the matches we've done, it can only be like 4 or 5 duds out of how many matches have we done? Like
we had
we announced it last time.
Yeah. Is it Janice and is it Tui? Is that how you say her name? They were match 200. I think we ended up with about 215 after the last one.
Yeah, so event. That's a lot of matches and only a handful of duds. So
yeah, and another thing, like I said, Mark sends us this post-event email breakdown. You noticed like a lot of the submission rates as well. Like Mark was noting all that down. I think we've had a fairly decent submission rate. I think we're about 50% after that last one. We kind of said to them Mark, you weren't there for it, but at the weigh-ins, I said to him, like, we want the crowd on flow or in the arena. We want them to be entertained. Push the pace, go for the sub. We said, like, say you go out there, you put on a show, and you end up getting tapped. You're more likely to get asked back to fight because you put on an exciting match than stalling, sitting on top of someone for 7 minutes and edging out a decision.
Like little Marcelo.
Marcelo, exactly.
Did you know he weighed in at 62 kilos and Xavier was like 70 something? And he had a go. Like
he doesn't care. He just wants to compete.
Yeah, and even at the end, he was just like just happy that he got on, had a match, and I said, mate, like you had a go, you got into it, so we'll have you back again next time.
That's exactly what we're talking about, though, isn't it? Like those exciting guys, and he had an awesome match on the first Subversion against Jolo. He got a bow and arrow win in the gi.
Yeah, had a very good match.
Those are the guys we want back. And like I said, we will bring you back if you have exciting matches.
He's always exciting though, Marcelo, isn't he? He's always all the comps. He's just.
I think I had a blue belt match with him in open weight, way back in the day, and I have PTSD from that.
The size difference between you two.
Yeah, but you couldn't kill him. He was like a cockroach. Like, you know what I mean?
He just doesn't stop.
And it was really fatiguing me. And it's early in the open bracket. I'm like, this is the worst possible matchup. Like, and he's so like wild, like really good to watch. It's nearly like capoeira, like style of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
That's crowd friendly.
Yeah, he just doesn't stop. But I'm the same. I love like a Sam Trace from the Blue Mountains. He's fun, the cartwheels and the flips, and I love all that flashy shit. Like he'd be invited back over someone who's just going to give a snooze fest, you know.
Yeah.
That Rafa match with Sam Trace was pretty funny. There was lots happening in that
Was
one.
was that the one?
They've had two, haven't
Yeah,
they?
no gi and gi.
Yeah. It was.
The no-gi
It's
one
just a constant tangle for the whole time.
Yeah, the no-gi one. Yeah.
That was at the Roundhouse, and then
yeah.
the gi was on the Sub City.
Yeah.
I'll just keep going through this.
But are we going to get into favourite matches?
Yeah,
so far?
we're still going.
We should just
pushing, yeah.
cover off that
Skipping a few
last bit.
steps.
The last bit, yeah.
We are looking at legit tight sub attempts. Who's pushing the pace, controlling the match, but also, if there's significant takedowns, sweeps, passes, pins, that's all factored in. But ultimately, we want to see you go out there and try and finish people.
Yeah.
Don't think if you just rack up points IBJJF style, you're going to get the judge's favour.
Yeah.
Go out there and try and submit your opponent.
Yeah.
If you do a good job of that, it's likely you'll find favour. If you're just trying to play a points game and stall, you may not get the outcome that you're after.
No, exactly. And even last time we tried to incentivise it even more. Mark, you've been a part of it where we've been lucky enough to have loan options, giving us $500 for submission of the night. Last time, George and the judges said that there was 2, so we forked out another $500. We gave out 2 subs of the night, and I think every person that got a sub on that night, we gave them $100. We'll do this. Well, we'll do the same for the next one. We're just trying to incentivise the subs because that's what the crowd want to see.
Yeah.
I wonder if the current crop of athletes coming through realise how lucky they are to be able to get on a show like this and get a little bit of coin as well at the same time. I've seen something posted today with the figures that they're paying for people fighting in Limpenny and stuff like that. I won't mention the price or the figures because I'll probably get in trouble myself. But you can literally make similar money doing jiu-jitsu now. You don't have to get punched in the head. You can literally go out there, do jiu-jitsu, have fun. You're not going to get too badly hurt in jiu-jitsu if you're smart enough and tough in time. But if you're going down an MMA path, that's very different. Like you could be off work for a couple of weeks before you're back in action.
Yeah, that's true.
And if it's similar freight, fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. As we said, incentivizing finishes. So that's what we're trying to do. All matches will be 7 minutes, with the exception of the co-main. We're looking at possibly even doing the qualifiers and the prelims to be maybe 6 minutes now. Just because we've got so many matches and it's the time, the total run time of the show, the venue's always on us to get out on time. If we go over time, we get charged shitloads, security, extra higher fee, so we're trying to keep that down. Co-main and main events will be 10 minutes, unless otherwise stated. Matches take place on a raised stage, 8 by 8 meters. This is the one that I want to get into, Mark. It's the final one. You and I have chatted about this a few times. The edge of the mat, it's such a hard thing to for people to work out what's going on. So for those who didn't see it, the co-main event of Equinox was Declan Moody and Marcelo Gomij, and Declan managed to get on Marcelo's back in the space, and then as they came to the ground, he went for a rear naked and went to the edge of the mat. So the referee stood them up and restarted them standing. The crowd had no idea what was going on, but can you explain our thought process behind that?
Yes, that's correct. What they've done there, the fact that there was a strangle being attempted as he's gone out of bounds, in that situation you can't restart them. What are you going to do? Put Declan's forearm across his face and let him lock a strangle? And then, I made that mistake with Molina and that big unit from Gracie Amida at the Roundhouse, where I put them essentially back into a heel hook. The gentleman escaped, so it's not like I put him in chest mate, but in reflection that was wrong.
But that I remember that because that was our very first moment where they went to the edge. It was like match 3, and even me as a cameraman, I went to stop them falling off the mat. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
And we weren't even using the IBJJF mat criteria back then either. It was just it was a bit loose back then as well.
It was all a learning process.
Yeah.
But the two key things for competitors that are going to be on the show, if you're in a leg entanglement and you're looking like you're going to roll out of bounds, or it's potential that your opponent's going to try and do something of that nature, don't have a heel hook as you're rolling out, or don't be, applying some sort of foot lock. Switch to an ankle lock and not an ankle lock, but just a overwrap, just a controlling grip. So you're in a control position now, you'll be reset in that position. If you're applying a submission as you go out of bounds, you're going to be restarted standing. So that's super important off a leg entanglement. If, same story in that position, if you're on someone's back and you're about to roll out of bounds, stick with the seatbelt. You'll be restarted in that position or as close to that position as we can. If you're applying a rear strangle as you go out of bounds, we're going to have to restart your stand and there's nothing we can do about it.
That makes perfect sense. And I've competed a fair bit, but I've never been across IBJJF rules. But once you explained that to me, that was perfect. So it's on the onus. The onus is on the competitor as they're getting to the edge of the match to make sure they're in a control position rather than a submission attempt, because then they'll be reset back into that control position as opposed to standing.
And that couldn't be more fair for both of those athletes in that scenario. So it's just being smart, knowing where you are in position.
No, totally across it. Anything else that you'd add to that, George?
Nah, I always palm it off to the refs. I'm not a ref.
I think that's good too, because I remember the first events when you were part of the judging. I was like, you don't want the promoter to be involved in judging, or so it's good that you've got that you've got these guys to rely on to get you get the heat off you, and I think that's good. I've got before we get into, we were going to do an ADCC breakdown, but before we get into that, last-ish question about Subversion. Both of your guys' most impressive performance at any Subversion event?
I was thinking this on the way in the car actually, and probably the one that sticks out for me is probably Allsop and Kaya Rudolph, and that was at Subsidy. Was that Subsidy 4? Was it? Is that one we got that uploaded on YouTube as well?
Subsidy 4. That was Subsidy 4 was at Luke's gym. The second one at Luke's gym.
The second one at Luke's gym, I think. Yeah. Josh and Kaya. We got that uploaded?
I think it might be on the YouTube channel, yes.
Yeah, check that out. Yeah. That was next level. I was like, whoa. Everyone was like, yeah.
So that performance from both of them?
Yeah. That's definitely sticks out.
That's your favourite match?
Yeah, for one of them, that's sticking out the most.
Marky?
That's a good question. You put me on the spot a little bit, but I will answer it. I think I might have been reffing Isaac and Harry. At the time, Harry looked like he'd had a heap of acai. He looked like he'd come straight out of the weights room, and he was doing some Wim Hof upstairs, and he was in full flight. And Isaac did not look very big at all. He's cruising around, away with the fairies downstairs, tripping. When they come together, that was intense. Like that whole match. When I was reffing, that was similar to like Tito and Duke, where I was terrified. I didn't know where it was going to go or how it was going to end up.
That was a bit safer though, because we had paddings on the wall. Like that was a bigger space.
There's still some camera stands that had a bit of metal on them. Like I was really worried about how they were going to interact.
Well, speaking of those, they were the lighting trusses that we put. Do you remember Subsidy 2 Igor? Do you remember that? Igor versus Issy Fidikefu.
Yeah.
Were you there for that one? Yeah, big Igor from Igor MMA. I can't remember if he went for a double leg, whatever he went for. Kind of, I think Issy stuffed it, and then kind of just did like a bullfighter kind of throw, and Igor went bang headfirst into that metal pole. That was not fun. So thankfully we don't have those lighting trusses anymore next to the thing. My most impressive performance from an individual, I would say Ash Williams. I'd never seen him before. Like George told me how good he was, and I'd heard of him. He's in the ADCC rankings and things like that. But to see his performance out there, he was such a good bloke, international name. He came in, he was just not bothered. He was just like
full of confidence,
but still just having fun. And his performance, he just went out there like hostile crowd. Everyone's cheering for Jeremy. He didn't give a shit. He went out there.
He won over the crowd in the end.
Yeah, everyone loved him at the end. Yeah, that was my most impressive.
Skinner's going to hate that you picked that.
But it was a good match. I just loved his performance. He just did so well. And the other was Isaac, but at Subsidy 2 when he beat Lynchy and Daniel Mitchell on one after each other.
That was pretty good, wasn't it?
Both with subs.
Isaac was the one who asked for that. He was like, "Give me this." He was like, "Give me 2 guys," and I was like, "What? 2 guys back to back?" I was just like, "What?" And he was like, "Yeah." I was just like, "All right, let's do it. Like, we need something new and different to do, so let's do it."
I remember making that matchup poster, and it was one, and then those 2 boys,
and everyone was like spinning out.
People were messaging you with the shits, weren't they? They're going, "This is jiu-jitsu. What are you? Why are you making it a clown show?"
There was a lot. There was a small section of that, but most of the people were like, oh yeah, fucking hell.
That was just the start of his stardom, wasn't it? He just gone up from there.
The other match I enjoyed watching, it was from Mexico, it was on the last show, was Ricky and Curtis. That was, I think it might have been match of the
That
night.
was match of the night for the last one, yeah.
That was decent, yeah.
Yeah, that was all over the place. Like, there's so much happening. Like, we're both screaming at the laptop, like, you know, like, you know, it's just such a ridiculous match. But it looked just like they had a gi match in that AJP event that they had, where they come over and threw some money around, and I haven't jumped in that just to press collect.
I remember.
The officiating was terrible there, and Molina beat me. Which was even worse again.
It's in the gi,
but it was still funny. He beat me on the death. Like, we drawed even on points, but last point scorer wins in that.
So
he'd
like
come from behind and then doubled the money too. Why? It was $400 US
Why did he double the money?
Well, $800 US for second, and I think Nico got $1,200 US for winning. That's how much money they're throwing at that comp.
Wow.
But we digress. Curtis and Ricky had a match that day, and I think Ricky beat him like 24-0 or something. But it was in the gi, so I was like, you know, Ricky's, you know, just a gi guy. But then Ricky's obviously improved. Like, Curtis is obviously a stud, but Ricky's improved quite a lot. And then they've had that match, and, you know, it was pretty well. It was match of the night. Like, you guys saw it for yourself. It was
very close.
There was a lot happening.
Who won? Who won that in the end?
Curtis nudged him in the end.
Yeah, I think it was split. I think it was
3-2 or something.
Yeah, I think it was split.
That's the thing. Like, I'm running around with a camera. I'm running the production, worrying about what the boys are doing upstairs. I don't even know who wins half the matches. So, like, at the end of the night, I've got Taylor on duties this week to write down submissions to who won. But yes, half the time I'm like, good fight. I had no idea if they won or lost. When you said you were watching that in Mexico, the flow stream, what did you think from the production side? How did it look to you guys?
Oh, I think it's awesome. Like, it's easily.
I'm just hoping you're going to pump us up here. Seriously.
Oh, I think it. Well, for example, I'm pretty big on. I won't name the event, but I did one in Melbourne, and I would never do that again because the commentary was so bad. So as soon as I come off the mat, you know, you do your thing, and it was against Jake Myers. He was on the last Subversion.
Yep.
You know, great bloke. Really enjoyed competing against him. He's a good grappler from Absolute.
I'm trying to think which one it is, but I think I know. Yep.
But yeah, he's a real nice fella, and we had a chat afterwards, and then, you know, Luke and I sort of went upstairs, and as I checked my messages and whatever later on, everyone was like, fuck, just roasting the commentary. Like, does that guy even do jiu-jitsu? How bad was that commentary? And then I ended up watching it later on, and the commentary is that bad. I wouldn't do that show again just because that commentator was so biased, and like, his understanding of jiu-jitsu was so low. That in itself would stop me from doing that event. And as a competitor, like, I wouldn't do that event for that reason, because I wouldn't want to expose myself to that. Whereas conversely, we got Sonny Brown, who studies the game, you know, relentlessly, and then you got most of the time we got Skinner. If he's not competing, he's going to jump in there, and like, he's across it. Like, you know what I mean? Doesn't matter what position or where we're going, he's going to be able to articulate it in a way that the audience is going to understand. Between those pair, I think we got it really quality production. I enjoyed that, you know, from overseas, being able to good viewing. Like, won't pump you up too much, but the production quality's right up there.
Someone, was it you? I can't remember. What's the Aussie guy called? Daisy Fresh? He was telling, like, the Aussie bloke over there at Daisy Fresh.
I didn't know they had an Aussie.
He watched it. You know, the guy with the mullet? I can't think of his name.
I'd never heard of Daisy Fresh until Sonny sent me something, like, just before Origin, but yeah.
Yeah, so I thought it was you, Tommy. So he messaged it was Sonny. Yeah, he messaged Sonny and said, he was just like blown away. He was like, "Whoa, that's what's happening down in Australia. That's like better than most of every show here in America, like production wise." So
yeah, production's top shelf. The commentary's fantastic, and then the athletes are putting it on too.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So everything's set there.
Exactly. It's everything needs to come together to make it. But yeah, as you said, Sonny Brown, the stuff he knows, like, he impresses me with. I'll just say something, and he'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So, the Green Power Ranger, for example, he knew the Green Power Rangers, like, complete background in his MMA, what he's trained before he was in Power Rangers, his clothing line, like, just these weird things. I'm just like, Sonny, how do you know all this? He just wealth of knowledge. And then
I also like that Sonny's a master of bullshit techniques as well.
Yeah.
Like, he's got the legit stuff, but then he also goes like into cow catches and scarf holds.
I train down there on Tuesday nights, and he loves that stuff. He loves
Yeah.
it. I do as well.
Luke always used to say, like, I should be a Sonny Brown black belt. And then I rolled with Sonny. I'm like, oh, I see what he was talking about. I like this. Like, he's just got that unique... He's got a really unorthodox style.
Yeah.
He's good.
Yeah.
Like, he's legit black belt.
Yeah.
But it's very unorthodox. And until you roll him, it's like, man, he does some weird shit.
Well, I think he's got that catch wrestling background, doesn't he? Is that what that's...
He loves a bit of catch, yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, like you said, Jeremy. If we're looking to do the same, so we're looking to do Jeremy, Sonny commentator for Ascension coming up. I don't think I've actually said the name Subversion Ascension since this whole podcast has been going on for 45 minutes. But yeah, Subversion Ascension. We're looking to have Sonny and Jeremy. If Jeremy can't make it, we're maybe thinking maybe Ari to back, filling in for him. Too. But yeah, we'll see how we go with that. Like high knowledge from all of those guys.
Ari actually taught me about the origins of K-Guard. You fellas know about that, don't you?
Yeah.
K-Guard is actually short for Canard Guard. Lucas Canard went down to Absolute and was training with Lachlan Giles. This is pre-ADCC 2019. And he was using this special sort of guard. And then they ended up calling it K-Guard after Canard. And then, we all know what else happened after that.
Oh, yeah. Didn't know that. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, you were the one who told me. Oh, I think you put it up on your story, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, not many people know that. And me and Ari thought it was important that we got that message out.
It's good to know.
But Lucas is quite humble about it and tries not to bring it up too much.
And he was just using it just to get into 50.
Yeah, he's if you've rolled with Lucas, he's a pretty cruisy character, similar to Isaac. He's never
passable guard.
Whoa, you can't do much to him at all. No. He's just smiling, like a smiling assassin. But he's never using too much force when you're rolling him. He hasn't dropped in it. Well, I haven't been to Sydney West a lot lately, but I do enjoy the roles we have.
Did he used to go to GE as well?
No, we used to compete against each other as blue belts back in the day. But yeah.
Okay, so he's been around for a long time as well.
I think he did a little bit of MMA to start with. Initially, then he got into jiu-jitsu, but he's always been like really
he's
good.
Another one I'd love to get on Subversion.
Well,
I think him and Kaya would be sick.
I think you'll have to talk him out of retirement. I think he's happy coaching, but I'd definitely like to see a Kaya Lucas Canard match. That would be
no gi.
Yeah. Definitely, we don't want to put a gi on. Come on,
just making sure.
Yeah.
That'd be very interesting. All right, moving away from Subversion for just a bit. George, you want to do like a little ADCC Trials breakdown with Mark? I've got no idea of anything to do with ADCC. I'll let you run it.
It's the week before. I'm hoping. Oh yeah, it's going to be last minute, but I think I'm going to go over just to watch all the action.
Going over?
I'm getting beat up pretty bad by Curtis and Isaac in the training room, so I think I'll do 99 just to steer clear of those monsters. I've told Suppo not to go any lower than 99, but he's talking about jumping in at under 99.
No.
Yeah,
I thought that was just trolling.
Well, everyone's like developed an eating disorder and everyone's sort of running away from him. Like if you look at a lot of those guys that were plus 99 suddenly are in 99. So he did like a test cut and he actually made the weight.
I don't want to see drawn out under 99 Saunders. I want to see 120 kilo, veins popping out everywhere, absolute monster Saunders.
Well, you have to, because he's got so much muscle mass, he's able to, like, you know what I mean? If he does a proper water cut, like similar to an MMA fight, he's able to really drop down. And I think he got down to 101, and that was without even trying.
And he looked drawn out, or was he?
Well, it's night before, so you're going to be able to hydrate and compete the next day without too many issues. And you've seen what he did at the last trials. He was just walking through guys. So even if he is a little bit depleted, he's still going to be a nightmare for anyone.
I think he weigh in at 115 last time.
Yeah, I think he flows between like 116 and 120. Probably depends.
For ADCC or Subversion?
Subversion. I think I just remember jumping on scales around that. But
don't get us started on
that. But normally it's like when he's like 120, isn't he? Like
when I met him, he was 120 kilos of just rippling muscle and mama's cooking. Like he was clearly
straight off the footy field, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was terrifying.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so what's going on with ADCC? Are there Aussies you're looking out for, or what's the
Yeah, I'm just interested in pretty much all the divisions, like going over there and just people like who do you reckon who hasn't like broke through there before? Who do you reckon can get through? Who would you say?
I think Ethan is definitely going to be up there. Like even that Rod Costa Ethan match, the MMA
that
match.
MMA match, how that was a BJJ clinic, wasn't it?
Like credit to both of them. Any normal human, Rod would have submitted them like probably 6 times over those 3 rounds, but Ethan's Ethan, so it's really hard to put away.
So your money's on Ethan under 66.
In that rule set, I just can't see how anyone's going to score on him. Like Kenta got not lucky. Kenta's good.
Is Ethan doing? Ethan's doing under 66 or under 77?
Depends how many lollies he eats in the interim.
Okay. And Skinner's going in under 77.
Well, I think now that they've got their day before weigh-in, that's really changed things up. I can't speak for those fellas. I'm not sure which way they're going to go. They would have both been 77, but now that it's day before weigh-ins, they might be able to get down to 66. It depends what they want to do. They'll probably look at the brackets and make a decision. Maybe they want to avoid each other, but I know Skinner and Baby talk a lot of shit.
What were they for the last one? For the one in Sydney?
Ethan was a 77, but Baby and Skinner both did 66. But Dave's got heaps bigger now than he was then, so it might be a mission for him to get down.
Declan Moody, he's doing pretty good at the moment. What did he make? Did he
88?
Did he get to the semis or just before quarters at the European trials? He ran into Luke Griffith, who eventually won the trials.
Yeah, it's pretty young.
Declan, I reckon.
Is he 88 or is he 99?
Under 99. He's a big boy now. So, yeah, he's got dual passports, so he can do both. He can do Europeans and Asians.
Australia.
So, yeah, I reckon he can definitely he should get in this time.
So how did he go at the Sydney one that you run?
Semis, I think, wasn't it?
Who took him out?
Hodgkinson.
Right.
That was under 88, but now, it's beefed up. Yeah. And he's been training at B team.
Yeah, right. What are the other divisions?
There's under 99.
Probably
Frias was going to be in there.
Or Suppo if he's going under 99.
Frias
up to 99 now, is he?
He's talking about being doing under 99.
He won 88 in Sydney.
Yeah, he's. I did see a screen grab of him saying to do under 99.
His neck looked pretty thick last time I ran into him.
Yeah.
And then over 99, Suppo.
Well, there might be empty. I might actually jump up to over 99 if Suppo's coming down into my division and there's a bit of space there.
Bunch of Kazakhs and Mongolians in there.
Yeah, there'll be some big units from east, that part of the world.
Yeah, right.
And no women's in this trial. It's in the second trial.
Oh, there's not?
No, women's is the second trial. Yeah.
So what? So there's a trial in November, and then when's the next one?
It's next year. Yeah.
I think that makes sense because I think I remember Hope saying something. Hope or Nikki, I was talking to one of them at a shoot I was doing, and they were saying something about that.
There's 3 divisions
for the women's.
Yeah.
So what? Under 66.
Under 60 now, isn't it? Oh no, 55. Is it?
55, 60, 65, mate. Oh, we should fact check that. We might need to cut this.
Yeah.
I can just Google. What am I typing in? ADCC Trials 2023 women.
Divisions.
Women's. So what did you say? The 50.
I think it's somewhere around 55. Is it 56?
Third weight class officially added for women's divisions. Women under 55 is the new one. Then women under 65. Then women over 65.
Oh, okay.
Olivia could get in there from Sydney West.
Yeah.
65 or 55.
She's always around like 60. So
what you reckon she'd go to?
Under 55, yeah. And she got real good shots. She beat Nadia at the last show, remember?
Yeah, and Adele, she would love the under 55, wouldn't she?
I can't recall.
She's small.
Yeah.
I remember, I think 65 is big for her, isn't it? Do you know Adele?
Yeah. She was a play. Looking back at the last trials, she played a very traditional, old school sort of closed guard approach. But geez, it worked well.
Yeah,
she did really well. And then Nikki Lloyd's going to be hard to beat in her division as well. She made light work of that division.
Yeah, well, moving into that, Marc actually was telling me, I didn't know this, but Marc did a performance analysis of the 2022 ADCC Asian and Oceania trials. Is that what it was? Pathways to the Podium was what it's called. What was What was that for?
It was for me, Master of Education in Sports Coaching. The special project was a 6,000 word submission, and I looked at performance analysis of those trials, who got on the podium and what did they do to get there. So I went down, at a granular level, because every division was quite different. 66, if you didn't know leg locks, you're out of there. Jeremy and Baby Dave just ran through that division. Ari did a really good job as well. I personally think he underperformed a little bit in his semi. Only he can speak to that.
Who was that against you?
Jeremy from memory.
Okay.
That would have been a good match, but it was over a bit quicker than I would have expected.
Yeah. Was it a sub, was it?
I believe so, yeah. I can't remember off the top of my head now.
Well, obviously. If
but I believe he got it. I believe he got it in his legs
Discussion.
and subbed him pretty quick. 77's the most stacked. There's no shortcuts there. You've got to be good at everything. They could take down, they could pass. Like, they were submitting. Like, they were really, really good across the board. And if you look at some of the names listed, it makes sense. 88.
That was Ethan. That was Joseph Chen.
Yeah, like Kenta.
Kenta won it?
Yeah, he ended up winning it. There was some, who was Burak was, whatever he is, 18-time Australian champion. But regardless of what you think of Burak, man, he performed and he was exciting to watch.
What's his name again? The runner-up? Siraj. Yeah, I shouldn't forget Siraj. He was the one that came out of nowhere for me. I was like, oh, who's this guy?
Because then you got him straight onto Subversion after that, didn't you? He was in Team Victoria.
Yeah, he's got a good style as well.
Yeah, 88 after that.
88, I think Bob Freas went into every match with a set strategy and didn't waver from it. Like, I think that's a credit to him that he had a plan for each match and went out there and executed and did it quite well. There's a bit of controversy in the Curtis match where he scored for a mount that, was a little bit debatable, but ultimately he did, he progressed from that match and went on to win the whole division. That's a matchup I'd love to see again.
Curtis Bob.
Yeah, but we're going to see Bob Suppo.
We're going to see Bob Suppo.
That's something to look forward to for Christmas. But yeah, 88 I think was a little bit more strategic. Ben Hodgkinson did a really good job as well, working his way through that bracket. And then there's, other good guys in there as well. Like Declan is doing really well. He's bulked up now. But then there's guys like Hayden Limebeer. He did a pretty good job coming through at the same time.
He's looking really good at the moment as well. I saw him last week. Yeah, moving really well.
Yeah, he's a pretty well built rooster, young Hayden.
He's like a Owen Livesley type body, isn't he?
It's just hard for 88 because don't forget you got Isaac who's just going to come in and I don't know if you've seen the footage, but he put me into orbit last week.
I didn't say it.
Oh, good. Hopefully it's been deleted and removed from the internet.
What was it?
He just went to run the pipe. And
is he still here? Is he?
He's gone now. Yeah. But he just picked me up Cormier style, and it was pretty impressive. Yeah, but I think he took it down. I don't know why. I was happy for it to be up.
His wrestling at that Polaris was top notch as well, wasn't it? The foot sweeps and
he just bullies you.
Yeah.
And it's so effortless as well. Like, it doesn't even look like he's trying. He's just so fluid. It's really nice jiu-jitsu. Yeah. It just sucks when you're on the receiving end of it.
I remember that was during COVID. He was training hard with Jacob, and Jacob Kachanek from he's from Bondi, originally from Slovakia. Him and the Slovakian boys were just training with Isaac in Bondi for months and months, like
just wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's worked.
They were, and Jacob kind of tried to adapt like a wrestling for BJJ style, and it's obviously worked with
Well, even that match with Anton and Isaac, the 99 division, like those pair were the clear favourites. They, ran through. There's some real highlight, real submissions. Like Isaac got a Ezekiel, which just shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
And then Anton had that flying armbar as well. Like there's some really crisp.
Was that on Seb?
Oh, come on, we didn't have to throw the name in.
Poor bastard. But I just remember that shot. I was in the perfect angle for it, and afterwards he was just like, I know you're going to have to put this out, but...
he's doing really well.
Yeah, he's killing it over in the US, isn't he?
Yep, he's beating some legit, world-class black belts.
But see, he's the type of guy that I love to have on the show as well, because he's not just about like having fun on the mats. He wants crazy entrance music, and he wants to play up to the crowd. Like, that's what we want. We want fun shit like that.
I said to him, I was like, because he's Egyptian background, and I was like, you should come out with a fez on. And he was like, what's that? And I was like, you're Egyptian, you don't even know what a fez is. And he was like, nah, never heard of it. And I was like, and I just Googled the picture and sent him it. And he was like, fuck yeah, I'll wear that. So I was like, I bought it for him, and he came out with the fez.
But that's what I love about him. Because
Yeah.
I said to him, I said, what music do you want? You want this? Yep. Like, so we can tell him, let's do this and make it fun. He loved it. He came out to Kurt Angle's theme song, you know, the Kurt Angle WWE theme song. People in the crowd knew it. They're chanting, "You suck."
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, they cut you off there.
No, the Grant match. Grant Bradshaw, was it? From Iconic, and then Grant Barlow.
That crowd.
Man, that's what... Those guys should be on every single card just because of the crowd that they bring.
Well,
Like,
George is trying to get him on. It's just, I think it's tough finding them guys' opponents, isn't it?
We've got Grant Barlow.
Grant Barlow.
He's back for the next one.
Yeah.
Bradshaw, he's got concert on.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
He loves his rock and metal, doesn't he?
So.
Actually, speaking of Barlow, if you're ever in the Wollongong area, he has the most beautiful gym I've ever seen.
That's Synergy?
Yeah, you've been down there?
No, I haven't.
He designed it, I believe, with his partner and put it up during COVID.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's
nice.
pimping, so nice.
Yeah,
I didn't want to touch anything. Like, you know what I mean? It was so nice. I'm like, it should not be a jiu-jitsu
You
gym.
didn't
It's
want
too
to roll
nice.
in case you got sweat on the mat.
Yeah, it's literally just It's got an ice bath, sauna, weights area, and then jiu-jitsu in the mezzanine upstairs.
And he's an absolute beast of a man as well. I've seen. He's fucking, was he 41, 42? And
He's 42 at least. Yeah,
he's fit.
Very supportive of us too. I appreciate everything we put up. He likes, he shares, he comments, he sends us fire emojis. Legend of a bloke.
It was Richard who first mentioned Richard Kemp.
Told you to get him
He
on.
was like, "Oh, you got your Grant on. He's a weapon."
Yeah,
And I was like, "Oh, right, yeah." Looked into it a bit, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, be good to get him on against Bradshaw."
Yeah, that was
a good match.
That crowd was crazy.
Yeah.
I remember I was filming more of the crowd because they were chanting Bradshaw and then Bahalo, like going between them. I think I got more footage of the crowd than I did of them fighting. But yeah, anyway, women for the ADCC, obviously, we touched on that, didn't we? Nikki,
that'll be
Olivia,
that'll be next year.
yeah.
Second trials, but yeah, hoping to get over there and be supporting you, be in your corner, Mark.
Yeah, it should be a bit of fun. I'm looking. I haven't lost in Singapore actually. 5-0 in Singapore in combat.
And obviously, going over for one championship and stuff. You know the area. The nightclubs.
No,
I'll be like, "Come on, Mark, where are we going? Where are you taking me?"
We're not going to any nightclubs. We're going to the hawker markets.
What's that one that the
Marina Bay?
and it's got the casino and whatnot at the top.
Oh, it's a little bit expensive, but it's like $1,000 a night. But Marina Bay is.
We've stayed there. The 3 and the surfboard on top.
Yeah, they got like these icy cold coconuts that you can sip on the roof. It's like
It's
really
such a
good.
It's
cool
got
place.
an outdoor pool there. Is
Yep.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like an
Infinity.
infinity edge that looks over the crowd. It's insane.
So you can go there and just like pay to get in and just.
No, you
mingle?
can't use
Or
the.
you have to.
You have to stay there if you want to use the
right.
pool.
Okay. I won't be going then.
But there's like really good hawker markets. Like behind that is Gardens by the Bay, which is really nice to just stroll through and have a look. But there's a hawker market like in that section there that's really good as well.
Yeah, I'm hoping to go as well because my mate Dan Orehek, he was on the last Subversion.
He was also one of our cameramen for the one before that. He did a bloody good job. Yep.
He's having a crack. He's going in 66. So and then he's pretty much he's got no one to go with. So I was like, I'll have to come and corner you and spur you on.
Yeah, sweet. Yeah, nice.
Or big Nathan Reddy will be a bit of a challenge as well. He's knocked out some pretty good guys from trials before.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Right. Moving away from ADCC, back to Subversion. Like I said, Subversion Ascension, December 2, Roundhouse. We put out the poster a couple of days ago. Some big names on there. Wanted to get your guys' thoughts. Maybe George, why, what your thought process was making the matches. And then Mark, maybe some predictions, what you're expecting from it. We'll start. I've got, like I said, the obviously the 8 people in the car on the poster are, our main fight. So we've got, our, I don't know what you'd call it, featured bout, I guess, will be Josh Coolabau versus Chris Casaselli in a no-gi match at 77 kilos. What was the thought process with that?
Well, you've always mentioned, you're pretty close with Josh. You've always mentioned let's get him on, and
I wanted I've been wanting to get him on, and then I just kind of left it, and then when I did a shoot with him, he just said when am I on? And I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh, all right.
Yeah.
I messaged George.
Yeah, and we just thought like, yeah, Chris would be a good match for him. Like, both going to have like, yeah, Chris. How many times has Chris done Subversion?
Chris-
Always puts on a mad show.
Chris and
Exciting. Yeah.
Ali on this one will tie for most Subversion appearances with 8. So they've fought 7 times. This will be their 8th for both of them.
So yeah, just thought that's a great matchup. Josh being in the UFC, to take any sort of like jiu-jitsu matches and stuff, they can't do leg locks. So I think that's
pretty standard for those guys.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
I think
I think it's going to be, because both guys. Well, Josh trains at Eagles, heavily wrestling down there, and Chris down at Smeaton Grange, a lot of wrestling. So it's going to be a scrap.
Yeah, and both. But like Chris Casaselli's dabbled. He trains with the MMA team with Issy, with Rob, with Jacob. So they've both got that MMA background. And something else in that match as well. Chris Casaselli beat Josh's main training partner, Alan Philpott, at Subversion Revolution.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So that's a little angle there.
Spicy.
Josh will be looking for some redemption for that one, I think.
Didn't he get takedown of the night on one of those cards as well? Chris
Casaselli did at the last...
The one before.
Equinox.
Yeah.
Equinox. He got a takedown in the gi on
Pablo.
Pablo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chris is always exciting. He's one of those guys that, you say, I'll put you against Grayson. Sweet. Like, he doesn't care. He takes every match. I don't know what you'd call this. We'll say featured bout 2. Third last match of the night will be Fran Bavaro versus Nikki Lloyd-Griffiths in the gi. Big women's matchup.
Always wanted to get Nikki on. Bit of a struggle to get opponents for her. But Fran's been doing really well. Recently got a black. I think she got a black belt last year, and she's had a good run. So, I think she mentioned she wanted to have a match with Nikki. So, I thought, yeah, beautiful. Let's do that. So,
what do you think of that one, Mark?
Well, when I was doing that performance analysis, I couldn't get footage of one of Nikki Lloyd's matches because she finished it so quick.
I remember you messaged me and said, "Did I have it?" And I was like, "No."
I had to message her directly and say, "Hey, can you help me out? And, this is really screwing up my data." But yeah, I think she goes out there, looks to finish, top of the food chain. That's a good matchup. Be interested to see how that goes. Like Fran's performed on Subversion before.
Yeah, Fran surprised us like that at the last Subversion. She came out like she's normally quiet, humble. She came out singing and dancing. She was having the time of her life. Like she did a great job that last Subversion, and then got the submission win. Yeah. Co-main event of the night: Ali El-Kiir from Sydney Wrestling Academy in a no-gi match against Taliesin Suarez. Yeah. That one. How did that come about?
Yeah. We've got to have a big co-main, and Ali, how many he's going to, his 8th? Did you say he's going to make his 8th appearance?
Pretty good record too. I think he's 6-1-1 or something. 6 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw.
He always has big support, big crowd following him. Makes for a good atmosphere. We were going to try and do the rematch with Lance, but he was going to mess up Lance's hair, so we cut that. And so we thought, who was I trying to get first? For Ali, I was trying to get. It wasn't Taliesin. It was someone else. Now I can't remember. But then I did tout old mate from Perth,
Jake.
No.
O'Driscoll?
No.
Peaches?
Oh, yeah, no, you mentioned him before.
Josh
the Brazilian bloke.
Pablo? Oh, Rod Costa. Rod Costa,
sorry. That's right. And they were like, oh, yeah, we'll do that. And then I ended up asking Taliesin, and he said he was contracted to 1 and he couldn't do any matches, which was news to me. I was like, well, I didn't know you were doing one FC, because I haven't seen him do any 1 FC. And then he was like, I'll let you know. I'll see if I can get out of it.
They're pretty casual. If you just ask them, generally they'll give you permission to do different things.
Well,
even if you are contracted.
Been given
Okay.
permission, so
Yeah, and it was it was only last week, wasn't it? Because we were like, we want to put out the poster.
we want Taliesin on the
gonna be on
poster.
it?
It's a big match. We want him to be a part of it. So we were hassling him like, "Are you out of it? You out of it?" And he finally came back and said, "I'm in."
Yeah,
So we're actually flying to Byron on Monday to film with him too. So
I'm going up on Sunday.
That's
Have
it.
a bit of
Well,
a-
by the
It's a
time
junket.
who knows when this podcast comes out, we might have already been. So who
Yeah.
knows? Going to do
But
some filming with him.
that's a big challenge for Ali, having Taliesin, who's won world championships at every belt for both gi and no gi. Like, that's insane.
But same thing as Ali. He takes any match,
Yeah.
anyone you put in front
Always
of him,
game.
he'd take.
Yeah.
He wanted Ash Williams at one stage. Like
Yeah.
he doesn't care.
And it's always happy to have him on. Like, him and his boys have always supported us. Like been so good to us. You know, we've hosted the qualifiers and legends. So
You didn't come down for the last two qualifiers. We've had them at Sydney Wrestling Academy. It's insane. Like the amount of times they've come up to us and, do you need this? Do you need that? Do you want a coffee? Do you want like they are just insane. And then the food they put on, mate, it's a Lebanese meat spread. It's ridiculous.
I'm gonna have to tell. Is it Ibrahim? Is partner for the cafe?
Yeah.
You have to tell him, like, make sure you look after his diet there at this cafe, because
He missed weight last time, didn't he?
it's under 60. We're doing under 66. I think a bit of a tough cut. So he's good.
Yeah.
It's day before weigh-in, isn't it?
Yeah. But
Still missed last time. Yeah.
No excuses.
No. So that one, Mark, what do you think about Taliesin versus Ali?
Well, Taliesin he's got pretty good cardio. Like if you look at the Skinner match, Skinner went out hard and really put him under the pump and had all the momentum, like really controlled that match early. But Taliesin hung in there and then started to turn the heat up a little bit late, a little bit too late to get the win. But that's something Ali needs to consider. Like Taliesin's going to be there and he's going to turn it on the whole match. He's definitely going to need to try and put him away, I would suggest. But he's pretty tough, and you know what Brazilians like, they don't tap to anything.
Yeah, that's true. We, as George mentioned earlier, we've got our YouTube channel. I think that's our most viewed video is Taliesin versus Jeremy, like the full match.
Yeah.
And I get notifications for it. I get notifications every now and then, and it's Taliesin was robbed and like.
All Brazilians.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I do Portuguese to English translation, and it says something.
No,
along
it
those
was
lines.
Again, we've just gone through the criteria, but
that's actually a really good case study of the judging criteria. That match, I beat JGF, Taliesin wins, no doubt. And for those Brazilians, if they don't understand what's happening, maybe they can't understand the commentary, can't speak English, whatever it is.
Funnily enough, that was our first event that we live streamed on Facebook from the Roundhouse, so there was no commentary because we'd get flagged for copyright infringement for music in the venue, so we made the decision to have no commentary.
But they're probably not aware of the judging criteria. If it's flashed up on the screen in English quickly, it's really hard for them. Yeah. But IBJJF would have gone to Taliesin under this rule set. Skinner got the win. But it was a really close match, and I don't think there's any losers in that match. They both put on a good show.
And such a great bloke, little Taliesin. I'll really enjoy having him come down and be a part of it again.
Yeah, and they ended up winning 2022 Match of the Year.
Yeah.
For that one when we had our Subversion Awards. So.
We still got to give him his trophy.
No, I gave it to him.
When?
I found it in my pile of stuff and posted it.
Oh, yeah. Okay, cool.
So that should be up there when we get up there. And heavyweight title main event. So we don't know if I told you, but we're introducing the World Subversion Heavyweight Championship belt. Looks awesome. It's going to be Bob versus Suppo. George, ideas, thought process making this match? Like who called for it? I
think Bob did. I
he?
think Bob was saying to Luke, wasn't he?
He's been asking, I don't know if Bob understands what he's asking for. And I get on really well with both fellas. But Bob's been asking for this for a long time. And Bob's bulked up a little bit. But, and I'm not, I'd rather stir Suppo up and talk shit. But that's a problem. Like, used to be able to catch him with bullshit in his first 6 months at Sydney West. But those days are so long gone. Like, no one's getting him with anything at least a year. Probably over a year. You know what I mean? He can let me connect a head arm. And I think my head arm's all right. He just laughs. Like, you know what I mean? He's just resisting with that, not even resisting. You just can't finish it on him. He's just too big of a human. And now he's so well developed across the whole skill set. I'm not quite sure what you do to him.
Yeah, and
I personally would use a bat and wait till he's sleeping. I'd love to do that. Get even, because he's, done a few things to me on the mat over the years. But it's going to be an awesome match. Like, a credit to Bob. Like, he's literally asking for this, and he's got what he asked for. And Bob is a gangster. Like, he's going to turn up and, like, you've seen all these matches over the years. He turns up and he'll find a way to win pretty much everything he goes in.
That's what I'm worried about. So should we have like 2 referees for that one? Because there's not going to be, like, imagine stopping those boys from getting to the edge. Like, it's going to, and Bob pushes hard with his wrestling. Like,
I was thinking earlier, like, definitely have Winston, the most experienced ref, on doing that one. Everything's got to be on point for that, because
what's the saying? Dot your I's and cross your T's. Because I remember the match with Isaac and Bob. Isaac went for like a smother from the bottom, and Bob, in the middle of the match, holds him down, and he's talking to the referees, like, and the judges saying, no, this isn't a part of it. Like,
Bob's a stickler for the rules.
Yeah,
like, I just don't want to be on the end of receiving end of a rant on Facebook from him, because he's had a few, like,
a spraying from Bob. Yeah, you don't want to be on that. Like, he likes what we do. We want to keep it that way. So as you know.
But I caught wind of him saying that he wanted that match, and obviously his competitors for Josh now in Australia is few and far between. I was like, right, beautiful. I'll message him. He's a gamer. He knows how to win, and let's see what he does with Subway.
No, I'm looking forward to that too.
I think it's great that he asked for it.
Yeah.
Because Suppo is running out of dance partners.
No one's asking for Suppo, is there?
No, and I don't know if you saw Bob's post. So Bob put it out there the other day, and he's already starting to talk shit. Have you seen it?
Yeah,
calling him sausage arms.
I didn't get that, but
I wasn't sure if it was banter or not, but I like it.
Yeah,
I'm all for it.
I'm going to be using that tonight.
Yeah. Well, Willie Orama is writing notes as we speak. Thanks to you.
Willie's retired.
Oh, is he?
I made a decision to just, if I'm going to, troll, I'll just do it myself.
Yeah, do it as well.
Peter DeBean knows all about that. I'll literally just troll you myself.
DeBean. Which one's DeBean?
Federation president.
Yeah, I remember that.
McPresident.
Yeah.
Sausage arms, eh? Saunders' forearms are probably twice the size of my forearms. It's fucking...
Yeah. And his ape index is off the chart too. Like, his arms.
Oh, they're really long, aren't they? Yeah, that's how he's always getting them dances.
It's the same with Ethan. Ethan's just out of proportion. Do you know what I mean? So they're nearly dragging their knuckles on the floor, both of them.
So what do you think? If it's Bob needs to win, he's going to just have to play the rules and
look, Bob's a very strategic. I'm sure he knows.
He's got a game plan.
He's got a strategy. Yeah. He's going to come in and look to utilise that. And Suppo, if he doesn't submit people, we give him hell. Like, the expectation is, if you're going to talk that trash, you need to go out and finish people. So that's the expectation, and he holds himself to that too.
Yeah.
Either way, it's going to be a viewing.
It's going to be a bit of fun. Just with that, guys. What else? Anything else with Ascension that you're looking forward to?
Well, I'll just touch on as well. We've got the Open in just under 3 weeks.
Oh yeah, Subversion Open.
Subversion Open. If you want to register and jump in that's round robin format. It's in a nice flash brand new venue down at Rose Hill.
Rose Hill.
So
right near Parramatta way.
Jump on Smooth Comp, get onto that. And you never know, if you put in a solid performance, you're gonna get a shot on the.
Well, we've got the qualifiers for that too. So I think 3-4 weeks after that, we've got the qualifiers, which you win your way into the show. Yeah, like George said, with Subversion Open, obviously he's going to be keeping an eye out for people. If you do put in a good performance, he's going to be taking notes, and you'll get a call up. For
because
next year.
There's always new people coming through, and I'll be like, oh yeah, who's this bloke? With the qualifiers, what is there? There's going to be six divisions this time. There's a couple of gi, 2 or 3 gi divisions, a couple of female divisions, and a couple of no gi male divisions. So
I think there's 4. I think there's 2 male gi, 2 female gi, and 2 male no gi. I think are the divisions.
A lot of people have been asking for the gi divisions, so let's see what the turnout is.
No,
there was a heap.
I said the same thing, but he showed me all the the Insta requests, and they all say more gi.
Are they burner accounts or are they actual people?
Luke Martin, I think, asked for more gi. What was it, Luke? Yeah.
Actually, one of my favourite things to do I always thinking of new ways to upset Luke. I go, actually, I won't share this. We'll have to cut this. We'll talk about this later. Because if I say this, too many other people will do it.
Start doing it.
And then he'll be pissed.
I remember he posted a picture one day, and I think Baby Dave gave him a shirt that said, "I love Romania" or something. Yeah. I screenshotted it, got rid of Romania, and was like, I can have some fun with this, and then just went, no, it's not worth it. So I've got a shirt, a picture with Luke with a shirt saying, "I love." I can share it with you if you want, and you can write whatever you want.
Last comp I went in, all I thought about was, how can I piss Luke off? Like, what can I do today to piss him off? And all I did was bullshit moves. Like panzer locks, dog bars from bottom, dog bars from top, and wrist lock. That's all I did that day. And as soon as I, caught up with him, he's just shaking. Yeah, he's disappointed.
Which comp was that?
Up in Brisbane at the Kings Cup. Yeah. I literally in my head when I went out there. Yeah.
Okay.
I think I had 6 matches, 2 draws, and 4 subs. Right. But I literally just went out there and used bullshit, and it worked.
Can't complain if you're getting subs. He's got his sub rate up.
I don't know why Sonny wasn't posting me a black belt after a performance like that.
Mate. Yeah, right. Well, anything else that we've missed, boys, that you think anyone want to know? Or are we all good?
If there's any questions, make sure you think about them, and before at the weigh-ins, we'll go over...
For competitors, you mean?
Yeah, for competitors on the night, we'll go over any of the questions that you may have.
Are you going to come to weigh-ins this time?
Yeah, that's the plan.
Yeah, sick.
Turn up, make sure everyone's comfortable. Make sure you turn up on weight. Like, there's literally no excuse for that. It's day before.
Yeah. We had 2, but we've put something like that in the fighter agreements, haven't we? Now, so there's a bit of a what would you say, a deterrent to not making weight for.
It's just disrespectful to your opponent. Like if they've had to turn up and make the weight,
Yeah. You should too. Exactly. All right, boys. Well, thanks for coming down. It's good seeing you, boys. We'll good first podcast, I think. We'll see you Saturday, December 2.
Can't wait.
All right, boys.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks, George.